I'm joined here today by the one, the only, of course, talking about Devante Sewell coming off the win over Calvin Miller at NFC 131. What's going on, sir? How are you?
Going great, sir. Feel good. Back in the gym already. Just keeping it going.
Yes, sir. How did it feel going back out there getting the win? So you had a tough 2019, 2020. I believe you weren't able to compete. How did it feel get back out there and get the victory?
It felt good actually. I didn't know how I was gonna feel until I got in there, since it was so long of a layoff. But once I got in there, it felt like a normal day.
So were you worried about ring rust and stuff like that going into the fight? Now, some guys don't believe in it. Some guys are like, we're going to find out. Everybody's going to find out at the same time. How was that kind of for you?
Yeah, I wasn't too worried because me and my opponent both was coming off a long layoff. With COVID, so much people didn't have the chance to fight last year. So you can't really focus on ring rust. You just have to focus on keep improving daily. And that's what I kept on doing last year and during the pandemic. And it showed. When I fought, it felt real good.
So what kept you out of the cage so long? Is it simply COVID with the promotions being a little bit weird? Was it injuries? Like what kind of kept you out for so long?
Really just the COVID, the pandemic, not being able to, find the fight as easily how it was before the pandemic. So when NFC came with the opportunity to fight Calvin Miller, it made sense, and we got it done.
So how did this fight with Calvin Miller come together? Like, is this something that you knew had been in the works for a little while? Did it kind of spring up out of nowhere? How did this fight come together?
Uh, Matchmakers reached out to me with this opponent. I wanted to fight at 135 actually, but no one was available for me to fight. So we looked up at 145, and Calvin, the person they offered it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, someone called me.
No problem. You were saying how this fight came together.
Yeah, so the fight came together by the matchmaker reaching out to me. We were supposed to fight at 135 because I am the bantamweight title holder for NFC at 135, but we couldn't find anybody to fight me just because, some people are just not ready. They're not training consistently. So we looked at 145, which actually worked out perfectly because with this whole layoff, I didn't make 135 since 2019. So the cut to 35 would have been real big. And I think I actually found a new weight class, and I might be sticking around at featherweight actually.
So how did the weight cut go? Like I know fighters they miss the fighting and everything, and then they cut weight and they realize, oh yeah, there's parts of the game that I definitely don't miss.
Yeah, definitely because I've been cutting weight actually since 2010, since I've been in high school wrestling, and that was one of the reasons why I actually didn't even want to wrestle anymore. Was just cutting the weight every single week. It was like just frustrating. But 145, that's gonna be the weight class, and I'm gonna take it over.
So what went into that decision for 145? Is it do you feel better physically at that weight class, or is it kind of like with the wrestling, like you just don't want to cut weight if you don't have to?
I mean, both kind of. I don't want to cut too much weight, but also I train with bigger guys all the time, and I handle them well. I'm very strong. I think cutting at 35, I lost muscle. So when I was putting all those gains in during camp, and then I would trim down to get to 35, I would lose my gains. This fight, I didn't have to lose any gains at all. I had to diet just for maybe 2 weeks. And when dieting, I'm saying it's just not eating junk food, just eating fruits, brown rice, just healthy grains, vegetables. And I made weight by cutting weight. I cut weight for 15 minutes and I was on weight. All I had to do was one Epsom salt bath, and I was already 2 pounds underweight. If I was cutting to 135, probably would have to do at least four Epsom salt baths, hit the sauna, it's just real stressful, you know. So it's like we're fighting. We're not in a weight cutting contest, you know.
So what happens to your 135-pound title now? Are you vacating this belt? Are you hoping to get one title defense? Like, what's kind of the plan for this belt?
I just got offered a title fight actually to defend it, but I already have a fight I'm planning on fighting in June, and I don't want to wait till July. That's the time I got offered to defend the 135 belt. But with my fight with Calvin Miller, luckily, thank God, I took no damage at all, like literally none. He didn't hit me once, you know. But so I'm looking to get back in there real soon. You know, 8 weeks is a good amount of time. June 19th, I'm looking at that date, and we'll be fighting at 145. I have an opponent in mind, just waiting for him to accept, and we go from there. In this fight game, I realized as I progressed, you can't look ahead. One fight at a time. I could think about plenty of things right now, but guess what? If you lose the next fight, that doesn't matter. So I'm focused on one fight at a time right now.
And so, what happens now? Like, with 2019 being the year where you fought a lot, 2020, 2021. Like, what's the difference with now getting so many more fights? It seems like you're getting them lined up one after the other.
Just get back on the roll. I got 13 professional fights already, but people don't realize I'm only 25, so I'm still very young. I'm gonna rack up these fights. I want to fight about at least three more times this year, so that would mean I have about 16, 17 pro fights already at 25, 26. Um, and just like I said, taking one fight at a time, focus on one opponent. My team right now, we're doing real good. Team ground and pound. We won all of our fights this year. We're 4-0, and we're all actually. I have four guys. We're all gonna be fighting on the same card next month in June, so it's gonna be pretty good. Just taking over. We're gonna take over. We're working hard every day, ground and pound. During the pandemic, we just kept training. You know, we kept training, kept grinding, and the results are showing.
So, what's the goal for you career wise? You mentioned you're 25. I think a lot of people, when you start to rack up a lot of wins, they think you're 38 or something. But what's the goal for you? Is it reaching somewhere like a UFC, Bellator, PFL? Is it about becoming champion at 145, defending the belt? Like, what's kind of your career plan?
Yeah, my goal is to become a champion. I'm not in this sport to just stick around, be a punching bag, or none of that stuff. Uh, like I said, I've been fighting since 18 now, so I have over almost 30 fights already at 25. Been wrestling before that. So again, I'm gonna focus on one fight at a time, keep winning, get to the big show, UFC, Bellator, PFL, XFC, one championships, whatever can give me the platform to show that I'm the best. And 145, you see the guys, Frankie Edgar, Alexander Volkanovski, Chad Mendes. All these guys were successful at my body frame, my height at 145. So I'm gonna run it up, take over, and let the haters hate.
And so, your nickname is the Grinder. What's the story behind that nickname? 'Cause I think when people hear Grinder in MMA, they sort of have like a negative connotation, right? Because they think like a wrestler that's going to grind out the decision. What's the story behind your nickname?
Nah, see, people kind of get it messed up, but my name is not the grinder because I'm trying to grind out decisions. Unfortunately, my last fight went to a decision, but I wish I got the finish, but I can't be mad. I got the mat timing. But anyways, my name, the grinder, comes from my worth ethic. I'm always grinding. Again, I told you right now, I'm in the gym. I'm putting work in. I just fought less than a week ago. So that's why my name is the grinder because I don't hope for wins. I work for wins. I grind, I grind, I grind. The grinder.
There it is. It's a very positive thing once you realize the story behind it. That's why I'm glad you cleared it up for people. One last question though, and you talked about it a little bit, but when can the people expect to see you back in the cage? And what are you allowed to tell us about that?
All right, people, you can expect to see me back in the cage June 19th. I'll be fighting for B2 Fighting Series. Will be available on pay-per-view. I'll have the link out soon. I'll have my opponent soon. More details be coming soon. Only 8 weeks, I'll be making a return. And after that, hopefully, I'll be making another return. Like I said, I want to fight at least 3 to 4 more times this year and just keep winning. Uh,
Oh,
you could stay tuned. Just follow me on social media, and I'll have all the updates for you.
all right, well there we go. We're looking forward to it. Hopefully, when we find out your opponent, I assume obviously it's going to be a great fight. Thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.